Welcome back to episode 6 of the CatchMark Sports Podcast. I'm Zach Swagel, joined here by Scott DeCamp and our fearless leader, Brent.
Whoa. You didn't say
Vamp.
that right.
I get it. He's a
Scott
vampire.
the
I
Vamp.
need to change his contact in my phone, so I quit making that mistake.
It needs to be Count Chocula when Scott calls you. See Count Chocula.
The Vamp is got the magic serum.
Oh Lord.
With the COVID
Okay.
booster last
my
night. So
gosh.
the Vamp's feeling a little. Vampires are cold anyway, right? Aren't they? Cold to the
vampires
touch?
are immune to COVID. I don't understand.
They're immune to death.
They're immune to death in general.
So-
I mean,
So that was a
are
bad
you
move. I didn't even
sleepy?
need to get that done yesterday.
yeah. I think
And
you
I'm
messed
feeling
up.
like this now because
You
I
may
got
no
that
longer
shot.
be a vampire, and which is why you're sleepy.
That's
It
right.
might
I
have-
did sleep last night. Believe it or not.
You can't be sure what's in those.
Yeah, he's good for the
vaccinations
next
there, buddy.
week and a half now.
Yeah.
Man,
Oh.
how's everybody's Thanksgiving weekend?
It was good. Ate some turkey, watched some shows.
Did you pack in some carbs?
I did have a few carbs on Thanksgiving.
Nice.
My sister brought some nice baked goods, and I had to have some cookies and some.
I like that.
I don't like pie, but cake. She made cupcakes. Karen made fun of me a little bit about that because I said, she goes, cake doesn't go with Thanksgiving. Does cake go with Thanksgiving? I think cake goes with Thanksgiving.
I think it's usually a pie.
Well, we had pies too, but cake, cookies, candy.
All
Yeah,
food goes
I mean,
with Thanksgiving.
The holidays, yeah.
Watched a new show on Netflix.
Which one?
Cowboy Bebop. Have you guys watched it?
No, I have not.
You should. It's pretty good. We got through about 5 episodes over the extended holiday.
I like it.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's
That's
based on anime, so you gotta be kind of a nerd, but that's pretty good.
And one of those anime shows. I watched King Richard about Serena and Venus Williams, about their dad, actually.
That show took
And,
a lot of heat. I don't know if you've been hearing the heat that it's taking.
Yeah, I have. I actually really liked it, though. I don't want to get. I mean, everybody knows their careers in general, and I don't want to spoil too much of it. But I would suggest watching it. I really would, and you can take the criticism how you will.
I had Thanksgiving at the sister-in-law's and enjoyed sipping some Screwball. Have you guys had Screwball?
Screwball is
Yes,
so
The
good.
peanut butter whiskey. Good stuff.
No, I have not.
You should.
And
peanut
it's
butter.
very good. And then watched a lot of football. 8 high school football games at Ford Field.
This guy's got a
there is a
problem,
lot
dude.
of football that goes on Thanksgiving, and you packed in more football
Yeah.
because you're a vampire, and that's you got a lot of time on your hands.
And yesterday made time to keep up with Dexter. Been watching Dexter.
Can't wait. Don't ruin anything. I gotta watch that tonight.
So what happened was
No.
that would be good though.
The vamp.
We should
You're
spoil
watching
it.
Dexter too, right?
I don't like Dexter.
Come on.
Kara loves it. I don't like it. I don't know. I just never have. I didn't watch the first time either. I'm like, this is silly. This seems silly. Like, it does. Like a shark that eats
Come
sharks.
on.
I mean,
can't.
so, but when I watch some football, I have to give a shout out to the Wolverines. They didn't just take care of business, but they
Took
care of business.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
so,
you could see the pent up energy in the fans. I mean, you saw them rush the field, not just students,
yeah.
but fans. I mean, it'd been a while. I mean,
So-
and they still haven't won the Big Ten title, but they'll try to do that Friday
Yeah.
against Iowa, which I think they should.
I got to take a shot. Just one quick one, because I was impressed with how Michigan played. I was good. It was good to see them win. They should win this weekend, but they did act like they had never won a Big Ten title before.
Well, it's been
that
17
hadn't been a
years.
while. But it has been a while. I mean, they stormed the field. I mean, like,
And they're they're both top 5 teams. You wouldn't think, but
yeah, Michigan jumped to 2, didn't they?
Yeah.
I think they're 2 right now.
Mm-hmm.
So and I think they took it to them. They earned it. They totally earned it. I will say that I think the weather played a little bit of a factor. I'm not saying that's the only reason they won, but if Ohio State can't send those receivers deep and throw the deep ball, they're kind of in trouble. And Michigan just out-physicaled them, just took it right to them.
Mm-hmm.
So, I
Yeah,
mean, they earned it. There's no question
40
about
some
it.
points. I mean, like,
Yeah.
yeah, they put it to them. I read an article over the weekend, too, that said that Oregon and Ohio State could see each other in the Rose Bowl. That's what people were predicting would be their bowl matchup, and that it's only some like 3 other teams only have ever faced each other twice in the in a regular season, basically, or in a season, and it was pretty unique, I guess, that they could play each other twice in the same season.
Did you see the Michigan State Penn State game in that snow?
I didn't catch the end of it, but I know Sparty went into that, and there was a lot of worries. One, Penn State's not a bad team. Two, though, also Sparty had a bunch of flu going around, so like they were down players, and
a lot of those guys played, and obviously Reed played, Walker played, which was huge. Walker rushed for 138.
Yeah.
Reed had a nice game, had a huge touchdown catch, or the one that put him ahead for good. But the end of the game, I was busy doing other stuff that day, but I kind of was checking on my phone. It was just crazy because it was like maybe 2-3 inches of snow that they were kind of trudging through in that game. And it was funny because I saw someone tweet, "This isn't fair. Penn State's wearing camouflage because they're all whites in the snow." So it's like, man, where are these dudes?
Yeah, I saw a few pictures online that like where they blend in just perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where like you can barely see them.
That's
Did you see that?
So maybe that's why their secondary is so bad. Michigan State secondary. You can't excuse the other games, can you?
No, I wish it was that was a problem. I saw one of MSU's. I can't remember the name of the D-back. He's in the transfer portal. There's a whole bunch of comments like, "Somebody please take him."
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, give them credit too. 10 wins, which before the season there was nobody that was predicting more than 4 wins for that program. So
does Walker win the Heisman?
I don't know if he does, but obviously Stroud took a hit, right, with his performance against Michigan.
Why doesn't he win it? I mean, gosh, he's the most, in my opinion, he's one of the most prolific running backs in a few years at least.
Well, I got to bring this up too. Friend of the show, friend of ours, Eric Griner, just a U fan.
Yeah.
He and I went back and forth on Twitter a little bit Saturday because he's like, Hassan Haskins is better than Walker. He deserves the Heisman over him, and then he's promoting Aiden Hutchinson and all that stuff. I said, Walker's special. Haskins is really good, but look at the offensive line he runs behind. And there was a stat that came out on a tweet. The Pro Football Focus said that Walker leads the NCAA in yards after contact. He's the only guy with over 1,000 yards after contact in all of NCAA.
Yeah.
And that says a lot. He doesn't have a great line run behind. He's special.
You know, it always makes me wonder, too, how many of those guys – because, I mean, he wasn't playing a lot at Wake Forest, right? Like, how many of those guys like that are out there and they're just – they're in the wrong program or they're not given the right shot? So I've always been curious about that in all sports. Like, where are are there gems sitting out there that nobody just didn't even realize or didn't give them a shot? I mean, you look at a kid like, Steph Curry now, but – coming out of high school, wasn't highly recruited. At Davidson, I mean, made a lot of noise, but there were still questions when he came into the league whether he would be he revolutionized the game with how he shoots the ball.
I mean, there's no question those teams don't play as good a competition, right? Like Davidson doesn't play.
Well, that's why Lawyer is able to kind of just light it up early. I mean, he's a great shooter, always has been, but when you're facing better athletes of the power, like high D1 competition.
It's a good comparison.
You think so?
I do.
I don't know.
Because he struggled to even stay on his own feet when he was running up and down the court against.
I watched Curry against. I watched him in the Elite Eight.
I'm not talking about Curry. I'm talking about Lawyer. I know that's an apples to oranges
Lawyer
comparison.
is a little smaller. I mean, Lawyer's he's sub 6 foot, right? I mean, he's like
it's a little different.
It's a little different. But yeah, still Division I basketball. I mean, eventually, if they make it to the tournament, they're going to see those teams too. So, it's always interesting. But, yeah.
One more thing on Haskins. Don't get me wrong. I think he's very good. I think he runs really hard, and he showed that against Ohio State. I just don't think it's the same comparison comparing Walker to Haskins because put Walker behind U of M's offensive line, what does he do? That's my opinion.
Mr. DeCamp, we talked about this in our Player of the Year conversations, and you made the exact opposite argument, I believe, when we start talking about, like, because – first off, Scott embarrassed me because of my man crush on Kyle Beebe at our media day the other day. I have to say that. But I made the argument. I did love Kyle Beebe, and I made the argument when we were talking about who to put up for that. Like, you put Kyle at Montague, you put Kyle at a lot of these other teams, and he would tear it up. And Scott kind of brushed me under the rug with it. He's just like,
I don't disagree. I don't know. I think you're misremembering.
We got to have some controversy.
No, but
Scott.
I think no, but you're right. I mean, you can do that with anybody. What does Vanderput do? Maybe behind Ravana's line. What does all these things?
Yep. Yeah. What could a kid like Young at North Muskegon do at an Oak Ridge or a Montague or a Whitehall? It's all relative. You got to take the hand you're dealt, and you got to go do it. I would argue though that Walker has. I mean, not only could you make the argument that he's not running behind as good of a line? He is killing it. I mean, he legitimately is killing it, and nobody has stopped him. Yeah, Ohio State stopped him a little bit.
They did.
Everybody else, I mean, he kind of owned. So, but
he is legit. After mentioning some of those West Michigan Conference kids, I think we should touch on the media day we had right before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it was a blast. You guys did a great job.
A blast. I had a lot more fun than I thought, and I also think the kids had a lot more fun than I thought they would. Yeah, you know, especially those morning groups. Kids don't like to get up early and do, you know, and they were having some fun.
There were a few dragging.
There for sure were.
Like even at 10, 11 o'clock, they're like, it's still in the morning, and I'm like, but you know, some of them had practice already. Like they come in and they had already practiced and kind of rolled in there. No, it was a good time. Something I think would be great to expand on as the years go by, and really good start. Thanks to the VAC for hosting us, and you know, Brian Beebe and Whitehall Schools over there, and also thanks for Van Dyke Mortgage, Mario and Nate and Van Dyke for helping us sponsor that and be able to do some cool stuff for the kids. We can't do that without great sponsors like that. So
I have to credit our whole CatchMark team. I mean, obviously you guys, you were really engaging. That's one thing I said, and that's what makes this event what it is if you got good personalities who are willing to get these kids to loosen up, just be conversational with them and just have fun. That's really what it's all about. Yeah, we're there to get photos, info, and stuff, but we're there to have fun, really, and to get to know these kids.
Yeah, getting to know some of the kids was awesome. That was definitely, you know, my favorite part.
I was throwing out all my kid slang too.
Yeah,
I pulled the kids. I said, "Stop capping. You're sus." You know, like, and they kind of all of them. As soon as I said it, they all snapped over and like,
"Who's this guy?"
Yeah, 44-year-olds can be cool too. I mean, that can happen, right?
So, you're going to see some CatchMark beanies running around.
There's going to be some CatchMark beanies. There were some beanies handed out. They actually liked them, which is good.
Yeah, super cool.
If you'd have handed me a beanie when I was in high school, I'd have been like, what? I'm not wearing this. It'll mess up my hair, you know? Like, but no, it is. They all put them on like almost right away too, so it was really good.
Kids love beanies.
Yeah, lots of talent out in the West Michigan Conference this year. I was, you know, both boys and girls, but you know, I got boys, so I was checking out all the teams, and boy, it's hard to pick somebody that I look at a team this year that I'm like, they're just gonna run away with it. You know what I mean? Like, they all looked good size. I mean, even teams like I hadn't really thought North Muskegon, like they always have good talent, and Ripster's a great coach, so. But they always seem a little small. They walked in, I was like,
big kids.
Man, these guys don't look small.
What about Hart
too?
Hart was
huge. Yeah. The Hovey kid is thinned down. He's a junior. They've got another like 2 or 3 other kids that are the same size as him, and they've got some of these guards that like kind of like Shelby, like Hayes. Like I was teasing Rick and Hayes. Like some of you guys feel like you've been around for like 30 years, and I'm, you know. I feel like Hayes is 50 years old, man. Like I keep seeing this kid. Like, is he ever going to graduate? You know, so no, it was really good. It'll be fun basketball this year.
Yeah,
I think.
I'm excited.
So.
There were, and this can sound like coach speak, but there were coaches, and I believe it, that said, if you don't show up on a given night, you could take a loss. It's just that's how deep the league could be this year, I think.
Yeah.
I was looking through some of, you know, each coach filled out a survey, and we asked them to rank the conference standings, the final conference standings. Obviously, they were all kept private, so none of them will be released. But
so we don't know who voted for who, but do we know who was the top team?
You know, I didn't compile them specifically. Ooh. I just glanced over them on the way here, but the amount of different answers and different rankings was kind of shocking.
So there wasn't one like sat.
I mean, there was a couple teams at the top. You know, Montague was commonly at the top. Oak Ridge was at the top. Whitehall was at the top. But Ravenna, North Mesquite, it just depended, right? Like there was literally like I think I saw 3 or 4 different number 1s and number 2s. Like just looking through them real quick before I came in here, and I think that says a lot to how talented
for
the
sure
league is.
I talked to a few of the coaches just on the side, and like you'd say, well, who could win the conference? Who do you think will win the conference? And like Aaron talking to Tracy Roll, he named off like 5 teams, and I'm like, so basically the whole conference, and he's like. Yeah. It's kind of like one of those years, man. He goes, there's not one real standout team, and everybody's pretty good. Mm-hmm. And so he said, yeah, I mean, that could happen. And on the girls' side, man, I'll tell you what, Hart with the Hovey, Jade, is that her name?
Jade.
I can't remember her first name ever, but man, she's a player. Like Hart could be tough.
You got to
this
see
year.
him shoot around a little bit.
I did. I ran Lightning, so I did get to watch him shoot around a little bit. And Hart looked pretty good to me. Like they look pretty solid. Everybody else, again, same thing, same as the boys. They all looked pretty good. Kendall Osborne is obviously really a really good player for Montague. Oak Ridge looks solid all the way around. Like it'll be Shelby. Shelby's got a couple of really good guards who are well coached by Sarah Wolting. Sorry, I think on the girls' side too, it could be interesting. So I'm just excited for basketball.
Me too.
I think for me that was a big
thing.
And
with Hart, I guess I wasn't thinking about this, but the Williamson girl is not playing. She had a knee injury last year and missed, and she's a really good player. I was talking to Travis Rosemont, their coach, and he said, well, looks like we're probably going to keep her out. Maybe there's a chance she could play at some point, but she's looking at her future with college, with potentially track or something like that. So, which that's a big loss for them because she's really good. She helped them a lot. But even without her, they're pretty loaded. They're pretty stacked.
Yeah. Travis Rosemont, he's from Oak Ridge, right?
He is.
I thought I recognized him. I'm like, I know that guy from somewhere. So, yeah,
I also have to point out Billy can actually.
Scott, are you all right?
It must be that shot.
It must be the shot. Scott's dying over there.
I just add a little character to this podcast. Billy could actually vouch for this, but I think the kids had the most fun doing the videos, doing the profiles. What did you think, Billy?
They had a blast. I mean, it was fun. They kind of opened up. The manhole question kind of got them thrown for a loop.
That was Scott's question, right?
Yeah. Why is a manhole cover round? And everybody's like, what? What is a manhole cover?
Yeah.
And then was it Tate Stein?
Yeah. Obesity?
Because obesity's on a
rise.
On a rise or something like that.
That's Tater, for sure. It was nice to see him. Nice to see him back in action. Apparently, he's 100% cleared.
He's cleared, yeah.
I don't know if that means that he will be full tilt right off the rip.
I think they're going to ease him in. Mm-hmm. I can tell you he was just really stoked. I talked to Jeff a little bit and his dad, and yeah, he's ready to go. I think the hard thing with that's always going to be like not going too fast, too quick, and have something else happen.
Right.
I know he's been doing rehab, but basketball shape and rehab shape are two different things. So,
true.
It's just great. Tate's a great kid and a great ball player. It'd be great to see him back again.
Never seen a kid smile as much as him. That kid smiles all the time.
He loves life, man.
He's got that big smile always.
Yeah.
I love it. It should be exciting, regardless. Going to be a heck of a year.
It will.
The girls start this week. Girls basketball starts tomorrow, actually, and then conference starts on Friday, and it'll be interesting. I think
no streams for us this week.
No
Everything's
streams.
away.
Everything's
away, or we opted, to pick a different date, a better game. So.
So I think we added. I think we've announced this on Facebook and everything, but we added some class to our team.
Right.
John and Cal are going to join us and call games as CatchMark employees and CatchMark teammates, which we're really excited for. We're trying to work something up where they might call some games over like streamed, not video, but just audio stream. So we might have them somewhere this Friday and call one of the girls' games there too. But John and Cal they're great. We're glad to have added them, and it's going to be awesome. So,
yeah, we're super excited to have them on, and just gives us another, some additional coverage, right?
That's
We're
right.
going to be as many places as we can be, so it'll definitely be fun. I hate to do this, but we got to touch on football a little bit. Just because
why do you hate it?
Because it's been covered.
Football's over, Zach.
He does.
It's never over.
I get it.
It's 365 days a year.
We got Player of the Year stuff to talk about, don't we?
That's true. We'll get into that too. You went to Detroit. Scott was in Detroit all weekend.
Wait, where am I? Am I in Detroit still, or where? Oh, Whitehall. I'm in Whitehall now.
Yeah.
I don't know where I am half
Welcome
the time.
back, Scott. How was it? How was your
It
experience?
was awesome. It's kind of a family thing, family tradition. My brother didn't go because he usually goes. It was my dad and brother and me, and then some friends and stuff. Usually, my brother was down at the Iron Bowl Saturday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he and a friend who's a really big Alabama fan were down at the Iron Bowl, so they saw
was
a
quite
great
a game.
That's super
But
cool.
it was me and my dad and my nephew, so it was cool. But I spent half the time helping the MHSAA with some stuff on Saturday. But I mean, we don't have to talk a lot about this, but that late game Friday night, the Unity Chelsea game, which I thought it was a foregone conclusion that no one was touching Unity. And even in that game, it seemed like Chelsea wasn't touching them. Even though Chelsea was 14-0 early, they were up 14-0. They were down 45-17 1 minute into the second half, and then fourth quarter things just totally fell apart on Unity. And
Yeah.
I don't
That's
know.
a heck of a lead.
So a parochial school lost? Is that what you're saying? What percentage of the state championships this year were won by private?
3 of the 8.
So like 30, 40%?
Mm-hmm.
What percentage of schools in the state are private?
Yeah.
A minimal amount.
They
14.
And I showed you guys the video,
He said 14.
but the Marine City coach, after they lost to Rapids Catholic,
Scott,
now,
you did show
he
me
goes, I'm
that.
not going to say it, but I'm going to say it. No, those weren't his words. These are my words.
Yes.
Because I'm not going to say it, but I'm going to say it. And, they get the kids they get, and then they win
Yeah.
with them. More power to them. Good for them, basically.
Yep.
And you could just tell that, some of these communities, small communities, that's all they got. Like DeWitt, granted, they played a public school, King, but talking to their coach afterwards, and I use this quote too, he's like, we don't even have school choice in DeWitt. And then you facing Detroit King, and they're drawing from all over Detroit.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's tough. It really is.
Again, how fair is that?
They still compete. There's still teams that compete, though. You
Yeah.
got to give them a lot of credit.
Yeah, there are.
That's for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think that pretty much covers football. I just wanted to touch on that Unity game. What
Unity
what
game
a
was
crazy comeback, honestly.
Unity, I don't think they're going to ever get over that one.
No, it's hard. I heard you tweet out, like, how do you deal with that? How do you handle that, right?
One of my favorite quotes: "Adversity causes some men to break and others to break records." So it's all about how you handle it. And they got punched in the mouth. How do the kids react now?
It
Are you
isn't
gonna come back next year?
Yeah, and one of the good things, and I wasn't down there, I was there watching from the stands in that game, and I got to give credit to Craig Tibby, the coach. To his credit, as devastating as that loss was, and granted, there's bigger tragedies in life. This is a football game, so let's get that out there. But he did all the interviews. It's not like he ran away and hid.
Yeah,
that means a lot, and to me, that's a lesson that you teach your kids that no matter what, you got to be accountable, and you have to be a man about these things.
Yep, totally agree. Player of the year? What do you think?
I think it's a done deal, right?
It's a done deal.
I think I was absolutely blown away by how many people participated.
Me too.
If you'd have told me we'd have 50,000 people vote across our week or two long poll, I would have been like, no way. If we get 10,000, I would have been happy. So the interaction, the amount of people that actually interacted was good. We talked about this before. I think all of us, if we looked at it, every person looks at it and they might have picked somebody different if they were choosing by themselves. But overall, we tried to put the players that we thought were deserving, all of them, essentially in the mix, and let the fans vote. So it was pretty awesome. I thought that was really cool. Thanks again to Van Dyke Mortgage for sponsoring that. We're going to do a dinner banquet kind of thing for everybody that was involved and hand out trophies. So that'll be awesome. We don't have a date yet, but we'll be picking that, right, Zach?
Yeah. It's probably going to be January 8th.
Okay.
So after the new year, it's just too crazy with winter sports starting up and in the holiday season and such. So, but yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a cool experience, and all these kids are really good athletes, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of if they won or not.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be cool to get everybody together. A lot of nice kids in there too. A lot of
really
them I've talked
kids.
to. A lot of really nice kids. So yeah. Any thoughts?
No, that was we put it like Brent said, we took 3 kids that we thought were all worthy recipients, would be worthy recipients, and then we left it in the hands of the readers, our voters, and they had everybody had the same opportunities to vote for their kids or the people who they thought deserved it, and we saw how it played out.
Yeah. So one of the things I think we're going to do this each season, and we're going to keep kind of this rotating. So spring we'll have the same thing, next fall we'll have the same thing, and then we'll do it winter again. So this is something that kids will come up on possibly numerous times, right? Some of these, and there are some underclassmen who won.
Super athletes.
Yeah. So, but in each sport, Tug Nichols in football won it. Navia Gauthier, is that how you say her name, Zach?
Yep.
In volleyball, Ricardo Behena. Did I say that right?
Mm-hmm.
In soccer, Carly Van Dynen, who I've seen play at White Lake numerous times. I wouldn't want to play her in golf. Won, and again, that's one of those sports that's a stacked group, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
you got Montague with back-to-back state titles with what great golfers we have from women golfers in our conference.
Yeah.
Andre Richmond, this is one I would have said, I probably just picking myself would have said maybe Clayton Ackley. You know, like Clayton was pretty amazing, or the Bosley kid from Hart as well, but the voters voted, right? And then Allison Enns from Hart for women's cross country, and then Troy McManus, which is a sport I probably know the least about in tennis. I just don't know tennis very well.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, all in all, like we've talked about multiple times, like all really good athletes, you know, all deserving of a nice accolade. The Richmond one was a little challenging for me to swallow. I'm going to be honest with you. I became more okay with Nevaeh the longer this went on.
Yeah.
And I think it's because she is so young and has so much potential. And
she's amazing, too. I mean, she was really good.
100%.
Yeah.
So when we talked the first time, I had stats backwards. Nevaeh had 200 more kills than Rain did this year.
Yeah.
And it's like, so her stats are there, too. You know, not that
Yeah.
not that Rain still shouldn't have.
No,
that's
it's a tough one. I mean, they were both very good, both excellent, both first team All-Staters too.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is, the more I dug in, the more I can understand why opinions, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what an awesome problem to have.
Yeah. Right.
Like a whole bunch of really great athletes, great people that you got to make a decision on. We've talked about this. Like, cross country is a hard one. You know, like, because they compete directly. It's an individual sport. There's, Clayton Ackley won every race he was in.
Right.
You know, so it's one of those. That's a hard thing. But on the flip side, there is a team aspect. And I don't know. It's a tricky one. And so for anybody that's unhappy for the way the votes turned out, get out and vote. You can vote once per hour. We're going to do that same, right? Cast your votes. Get out there, you know?
Yeah, and they're open for a whole week. You can rack up 13,000 for a player, evidently.
Yeah. So Nevaeh got how many votes?
It was
she was
over
the number
13K.
one.
It was over
13,000
like
votes.
13,400.
That's insane, man.
Volleyball alone got nearly 25 grand.
Yeah, 24,656. Yeah, so
Yeah.
24,000 votes. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. So
Yeah.
no, but this will be fun. This will be a fun thing to keep doing, and I think we're going to keep the format the same. I think it played out the way that we had hoped it would play out, where we're going to put deserving kids up there and let people vote on it. And
I also think it's cool that, keep in mind, all these nominees are going to be coming in, right, for this little gathering, for this award presentation. So they're all going to, get an award more or less,
yes,
which is cool.
Yep.
They're all deserving.
They're all being
and
recognized.
They're all good
Yep.
kids.
Yep.
So yeah, nothing bad about that for sure.
And I got to say thanks again, Van Dyke Mortgage, for, again, those guys are just wonderful in regards to supporting local athletics, supporting communities they're involved in. And it's been great to have a partner in this type of stuff, to make these things really cool for the kids. So thanks again to them. But
yeah, totally agree. All the extra stuff, that's what people don't understand. Like,
gosh.
to give these kids an award and to provide an opportunity for them to be recognized, to come in and be recognized. That's the stuff that people don't always understand, and the stuff that can be expensive. So we really appreciate the sponsorship for sure. Kind of moving on to a little hot topic, a little hot debate from Brent. Well, from Brent last week.
On for this one.
Yeah, you might want to. That way you can't see anything. Brett, did you have one that you wanted to start with? One that we talked about a little bit.
We had
last
two.
week.
So it's funny because we just had Media Day, right? And Media Day is all about the kids. It's all about videos. It's all about pictures. And I would say that, like, we have a really cool mix of art and science here at CatchMark. So what I mean by that is, like, we've got writers, we've got videographers, we've got, Billy, is that the appropriate term for video czar? Is that what I call you? But we've got photographers, we got all kinds of. But then at the opposite side of that, we have the science piece where, our bread and butter of our business is technology. And so, and again, business on top of that. So we've had these kind of back and forths about where is value at? Where is value in sports, local sports coverage, right? And so whether that's writing, whether that's pictures, whether that's videos, how long should they be? Are they quick? And so I'm constantly challenging our team to think like that, right? And so, like, we can go out. I love Cody. Cody makes a lot of stuff happen for us. He and I have gone back and forth about, do we need to spend $2,000 on a light? Do our videos need to be more, Zach and I've talked, do they need to be more than 2 minutes long? I mean, with TikTok being the way it is. So just what do people want to see? Right? Like, what are people going to consume in regards to media? Do they want a really long written, or do they want box scores? Do they want a long video, or do they want all the highlights and have it be real quick? Do they want interviews with coaches? So I guess that was kind of one of my topics. We've gone back and forth, but it'd be really interesting, as we kind of, when we close and post this podcast, to hear people's comments. Like, what do they want to see? Eventually, we might get to a place where we can actually have people call in, or bring somebody on and ask them. So I guess, what are you guys' opinion on that? You think where I'm at? I think less is more in this day and age.
Scott's loving this.
Scott's old school, so like, he's old school, but he's willing to listen. I will say that.
Yeah.
So,
which means I'm flighty, maybe, or wishy-washy, because I can go either way with
you're
it.
a vampire and they turn into bats, so flighty would be.
That's true.
Right.
That's appropriate. Man, that's a really tough one, because does it matter? Does it depend on whether your own child is involved? Because bottom line, I think people just want to see their kids' names and images and stuff on a site. They want to know that what their kids and what they're doing is acknowledged. I think that's number one, and it always has been, going way back, even to the newspaper days where you pick up the newspaper and you're like, oh, yeah, my name's in there, my kid's name's in there, and then you pass it around to the grandparents, aunts and uncles, all that stuff. Now, it's just doing that through the social media age now, but, I mean, being a journalist, I don't know if you'd call it.
Yeah.
I'm not an artist, I guess.
You are. I mean, you
in
are.
some ways.
You are.
So I can appreciate really good photos and really good writing, but, and I'm not answering your question. I'm just going round and round right now.
This is classic.
I'm just setting it up for Zach. I'm doing the politician route right now. He'll be the determining factor here. But, no, I mean, I'm
going to be honest with you. When I was a kid and I picked up the paper, I looked first at the front page of the sports section, and I looked at the pictures. Then I went straight to I would always go straight to the box scores, right? And that's what I wanted to know.
Unless you're looking for your name.
Unless,
is what he's saying.
even in the box, and you usually knew where your name was going to be if you had a good game.
That's
and
true.
that, so, I mean, even back then, I don't know that, like, I would always consume the whole article. I might go back later and read it, but that's kind of where. Nowadays, though, it's so much it's even faster, right? Like, a video service like TikTok does not take off if people are interested in watching long videos.
Right.
You know what I mean? So YouTube, I mean, there's a whole bunch of metrics around YouTube on how long your videos need to be to gain the biggest audience. So I'll be quiet, though, Zach. What do you got?
Yeah. I mean, you started to touch on it, right?
Sorry.
Like, I just think that everything in the world right now, at least with the younger generations, revolves around quick, like, to the point, fast moving, on to the next thing. Like, just, it's super, super changing and super fast paced.
Yeah.
And I think that interpreting information kind of goes hand in hand, and I think that's really what we're targeting right now. We're targeting people that are going to be digesting, a sports story or scores or so on. And Scott and I go back and forth on this. The good thing is that we have analytics. We have access to analytics and a team of people that thoroughly understand those to be able to provide us some feedback, and a lot of there's a lot of really focusing and analyzing the data, because with some stuff there is a heck of a long view time or read time, on these masterpiece stories that Scott puts out. I mean, he's just an amazing writer, and it's crazy to see that people spend 4 minutes writing.
Well, that's why I wonder, because that's the question I was going to ask, and I didn't answer jack squat of any of your questions.
Yeah, you didn't.
So I apologize for that. Zach actually is answering for me. That's I just delegated it to him.
Yeah, but I mean,
right?
what people don't see on the back end is that Scott and I sat down for 2 hours last week and we look at this stuff, because it does matter, and it has a huge influence over how we present information to other people. Right. And I think you'll see us evolve over time, because this industry is evolving. I mean, that's just the way.
And you got to be willing to adjust on the fly. If you don't, you're going to get left behind.
What's really hard to see is when you put a lot of time into something, and it happens to I would argue, I haven't been doing this for very long, this specifically writing, but I would argue that, it happens to every journalist or every writer. But what's really hard to see is when somebody reads your stuff. You put in a lot of time, and somebody reads your stuff for an average of 13 seconds. Yeah. And it took you 2 hours to write or whatever,
Yeah.
Those are hard pills to swallow, but it also gives you some feedback as to where you should be spending your time.
Yeah. I think that you also have to look at it from a business perspective. Not everything's about business. So I don't want to, we wouldn't be doing this if that's what it was. But at the same time, we have to put time and energy and effort into the things that return something for us. And that's always a tricky thing. We use the metrics to figure that out. But sometimes what we think will bring us that stuff isn't what brings us that stuff. And I can't tell you how many times I've been off with just generationally, I'm sitting down and watching some videos with my kids and the stuff that they find funny and that they want to watch. I'm like, man, this just doesn't really seem appealing, but they love it, my beanies at Media Day, right? Like I would have never thought that would have gone over as well. So, and I want to know what the kids are like. I ask my kids, and I do. I think it goes back to people want to see more and not, this is terrible to say, but they would rather see more pictures than more quality pictures. Or fewer quality pictures. Now, if we could take quality pictures and take 400 and had the time to spend that, then they would want to see that. But if it's the difference between having 100 pictures in a photo gallery all taken on a cell phone versus 100 pictures taken with a photographer that cost X amount per event, if we can only cover one event, but we can cover 15 events with cell phones, they're going to say cell phones all day, and they're not going to care. And those pictures are going to get just as many views as a really excellent ones, or videos, and the same thing. I think that's kind of where I'm going with that.
On this Media Day topic, sorry, I'm not trying to hijack it, but I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but in Grand Rapids, Ottawa Hills hosted a Media Day for basketball.
Did they really?
Now, maybe they had that in the works already, but I just thought it was interesting. We had one Wednesday, and then all of a sudden they got one. Fox 17 was there at theirs, and they did some interviews and got some content for it. Last night it was, yeah.
Yeah, nice. Wow, we're ahead of the curve. So I think that's the balance, though, is finding that stuff, and you hit the nail on the head. I think it's evolving with what people and the way people consume, and the trouble with that is everybody's not in the same place. So you've got a group of people that let's call them, 30, 35 and over, right? Like I don't even know if I'm going back far enough, and then you've got this group of younger kids, and somewhere in between. How do you create content that everybody likes? And that's the key, and that's what we're really trying to do. I think is do the best of all that without giving up on any of it, in a sense. But also, then that costs time and money, and so you gotta kind of balance it. So no, it'd be interesting to have feedback from people. I think
For sure. I think that every person, we've talked about having guests in the future, kind of thing, in the near future, and I think that should be a generic question we ask pretty much everybody.
Yeah, what do you like best? Yeah. I remember before my dad passed away talking about to him, and we had gotten an argument about how he consumed news, and because we went to the Ryder Cup and we were relaxing one night, and he's just watching the news, and it's the same news loop over and over, and I'm like, why do you do this? I don't get it. And I want my news in a certain way, and I'm like, you just listen to the same story 3 times in a row. Go pick out the stuff you want to read. And we had a long conversation about what he liked better and why he liked it. And we had a whole issue with him ordering pizza online too. Not that he couldn't do it. He didn't want to do it. He wanted to talk to somebody. And I'm like, I get it. But at the same time, don't be stubborn to just be stubborn. So it's really weird. I mean, this is a bigger life discussion.
That's true. It still happens all the time. A lot of generational differences. Yeah, sure. Especially.
So talking about generational differences, what are you wearing? You got Chuck tees on, man. Those are retro tees.
These are bad apples, dude.
Those are. So for those of you that can't see, Zach is wearing some retro Chuck Taylor Converse All-Stars. Now, my dad had a pair of those that were about 140 years old in his closet for years from basketball when he was a kid. Now, they didn't look quite like that, but those are pretty slick, man.
Thanks. Appreciate it. I would never play basketball in these, though.
What?
Yeah.
Can you believe people did?
Would kill me. Speaking of feet killing me, I was so sore.
I was going to ask you how you felt the day after.
I must have shot 7 baskets at Media Day on Wednesday. I was so
Between us setting up Tuesday night in the back, and then we did that for a while too, and we're shooting around, messing around, and then shooting a few baskets during media day. My knees were killing me.
Oh yeah,
both of them.
Just standing and walking.
And I try to get to the gym at least a few times a week, but that's a different kind of conditioning. And I know that your son Connor brought that up with somebody else saying that. Yeah, but if you ran cross country, so you should be good to go. No, that's a different kind of conditioning.
It is.
And
it's different on your body.
Yeah, you see that with football players coming into basketball, soccer players going into basketball. I mean, same thing with Owen. Owen played soccer all fall, but it's not. Basketball shape's a different shape too, right? Like, and it's
different surface.
Different surface.
I mean, all that stuff matters for sure. But I was sore. My whole body was sore.
I was too. Zach texted me the next day and was like, I'm sore. I'm like, so am I. I'm dying here. So
it was bad.
I noticed too that my jump shot got progressively way worse as the time went. Like Tuesday night, I was making some shots and then it just got bad. So Kara was watching me take a couple shots. She's probably like, just stick to the writing part.
So by the way, my wife Kara, I think, had a better time than any of us at this media day.
That blows my mind.
She's out there shooting half. She woke up the next day. She goes, my right arm hurts. I can't move it. I said, why? And she goes, because I was trying to chuck in half court shots for an hour with Cody. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
No, she had a blast. Like it was a good time all the way around. I think next year we'll expand upon it a little bit and find some goods and some bads. But
honestly, I think half of that was just the VAC was it really was such a good
great
place.
venue. Yeah.
A lot of room, and the kids could, they could do whatever they wanted to. And
say what you want about whether that should have been built or shouldn't have. It's a beautiful facility.
Yeah,
I mean, it really is pretty awesome. My favorite, and I'd be sad if I didn't mention my favorite part of the whole media day. I sat and talked to Rick Zulik for probably 15 or 20 minutes. Man, do they make a coach better than that? I mean, like if they were
a class act.
If they were dropping ingredients into a mixer to say, how do we make a great coach? Like, I feel like Rick is the guy, like humble yet confident, moves with the times. I mean, I had a whole talk to him about like how you can't make something fit a team. You can't make a team fit them, an offense or a program fit. Jeez, Pete, I am murdering.
Basically,
I actually get what you're saying.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
It's the square peg round hole thing. You can't.
Yeah, but I mean, for a guy that's coached for 40 years, the fact that he's that open to change and being like, hey, we got to change how we play basketball, and like, just listening to him, I'm like, man, I hope this guy coaches forever. But
and he's a legend. I mean, they've struggled in recent years, but. It's
which
not
only
like,
makes you like him more, right?
Yeah.
Like,
right.
I mean, the guy won forever. You go into Shelby and there's a gazillion banners hanging in there.
It makes you respect him because he's still hanging in there, still doing what he loves. And it's not like the man forgot how to coach just because they're not winning as many games.
Yep.
But a lot of coaches will tell you maybe some of the seasons where they won fewer games was more.
Right.
They were more rewarding because they had to coach their butts off just to get to that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I've always said that you can tell a lot about the coach by how his players or her players treat them.
Yeah.
How they act toward him.
Yep.
And if you ever watch Rick's kids, man,
they love him.
They love that guy and they respect him.
Yep.
It's cool.
He's great, man. Like I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed talking to Ripstra. I enjoyed talking to Tracy Rule. I mean, I think that's for me. That's the favorite part is just picking all these guys' brains. I mean, just a great and. Sarah Walting, I got an opportunity, Rick's daughter. Great to talk to her and all these coaches. What a great set of people we have coaching our kids all the way across the conference. I mean, you can say what you want. And coaching is a hard job nowadays, kind of like officiating, right? Like,
yeah, it sure is.
And we got some great people doing it. So
yeah, I ran into a few different people at the football finals. Ripster was one of them. He had his boys there. Him and his boys watching that Unity game. We're all shaking our heads, and then I saw some locals too down at Ford Field running the chains. Like Chuck Hulse was there on the sideline. I saw Fisher was down there. Todd Sellen, he's a Ravenna grad.
Mm-hmm.
They're on a crew together during the season, so they're out running the officials. And then what is it? Rossler. What was Rossler?
Chains?
Stout didn't go. No, he decided to stay home. So he wanted to get his face painted maize and blue, I guess, for Saturday's game.
That is true.
So.
I can't. I mean, it's a hard time to go away for 2 days. You and I talked about I talked about going.
Yeah.
I just can't do it.
I just relaxed.
Yeah.
Man, I was like nobody else. It was
good.
nice.
But for me, that is relaxing. I know you're going to think I'm crazy.
You're crazy.
You already know that.
I don't think.
But that's what I enjoyed.
You're a different breed.
You enjoy the 3.5 hour ride
Yeah.
There in 3.5
It's
back.
fine. It's time spent with family, So.
Yeah, I guess.
That's true. That's a good way to look at it.
And it gets me out of my wife's hair for 3 more hours. Well, more
Oh,
than
that
whole weekend.
it might be
but
better for her than it is for you.
there's something to be said for that.
She's not used to being around for as much. So
Yeah.
the holidays. Are a little
Did I
bit of
say? Did I mention we're going on a vacation coming up?
If
soon?
you
Yeah,
bring it
yeah.
up again.
Okay, sorry.
Are you sure that you can handle all that sunshine? That's what I want to know.
Am I sure that we can still go because of all this crap going on? I hope so.
Oh man!
Did I mention
would
that I'm
really
playing a pretty sweet
Yeah,
golf course
I'm
too?
Hype.
Yes, you have mentioned it.
Did you look at the video or photos?
I
yet
didn't
or
look
not?
at any videos or photos. As a matter of fact, I deleted them as soon as you sent them to me. But vampires burn easily. I just want you to know.
true.
So,
Yeah, and I don't know. I think a lot of my golf shots are going to end up in the ocean.
I think
if you've
you
seen
better
that
bring
course-
a lot of golf balls. That's,
True.
Yeah,
I think I'm gonna have to pay extra luggage fee just for the golf balls.
It's probably better than buying them there.
Yeah.
That'd be my guess.
Wow. Well, you guys know I have a hard stop today.
Yep.
So I'm not going to come up with any good wingers that keep us going for
No.
an extra 15 minutes.
No.
Zach, what do you got for us going out?
Nothing.
Nothing,
Not a
that's
whole
it?
lot. We're good to go.
Just
we got
coming
some.
off
We have some
Thanksgiving.
interesting. I will say we have some good questions for next week.
Sweet. We're all fat and happy and
Yeah.
just
right.
kind of lazy and quiet. And
Yeah.
give us what are the questions for next week? Do we get a read ahead? We're
We're gonna talk about millennials and finances a little bit.
Good Lord.
We're
This
gonna
is a sports podcast.
I know.
Oh
I know.
my gosh.
We have to though.
Is this because of last week?
Yeah.
Wednesday night.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
good Lord.
Because we shared some interesting opinions,
Yes.
and then we're gonna get into boys basketball next week. That's starting up. So
All right.
we'll talk in more a little bit more in detail after we put out the preview next week. And
You're
should be fun.
you're here next week, Scott, right? But then
I'm through. I'm not here this Friday, but I'm here Monday through next Thursday.
I'm
then
just
I'm
wondering
gone
when
for a
you're
week.
going to meet when you're going to miss the podcast, what week that is, and we'll have to find a.
We are going to take. I think we're going to take 1 week off.
Are we
during
taking a week off?
during the holidays? I don't know exactly which week it's going to be, but I think
Yeah,
we're
I'll be
take
gone the week of through the 10th through the 19th or 18th.
Well, I would assume Christmas, New Year's week, we'd probably
Yes.
take a week off.
Yep, in between.
But the week Scott's gone, we'll probably still go.
Yeah.
So we'll have to,
But there's a few people that have reached out. That
you can
wanna-
find an adequate replacement. That won't be hard.
I don't know about that. Scott.
Yeah, not everybody's an walking encyclopedia.
Yeah,
Scott.
no. I think we can find somebody. I don't know whether we'll call them adequate. Big shoes to fill, for sure.
We tried to get Cody on with us today, but
Cody didn't want it. He was scared.
wasn't having it.
He's a behind the camera, behind the mic guy, not on the camera guy. I am just really struggling today with talking. I don't know. Usually not a problem for
That
me.
might be our signal to send us out. You know.
All right.
Thank
All
you
right.
so
Billy,
much.
you got anything to add?
No, I'm still stuffed from Thanksgiving. I mean, I had Thanksgiving
3
dinner.
days.
It was
then I had
like
it
5
for
days ago.
I had it for breakfast every day. I had it for dinner.
So you're
every
not
day.
winning the weight loss challenge.
Oh
this
no.
Billy.
Pie, cake, turkey, chicken, stuffing.
I'm looking at Billy. and
Cake.
My
Wait a minute.
shirt's
Cake.
off.
Button. He had a button that popped open.
I noticed that.
My shirt is popping open.
You're fat and sassy with the Dolphins right now too.
Oh man!
Did they win again?
Yep, 4 in a row, baby.
They trucked. Who they play again?
Ness.
Yeah, and I have a feeling they could win the next 2. They play the Giants and the Jets again. So
Anybody watch the Lions game?
I was rooting for them. I wanted them to win. They found a way to Lions it up with a minute left.
Lions is a
That's
verb.
what they
I don't
do.
know.
I just get too angry. I have the last few years has been like this. It's not worth it. You
Find
guys
something
are-
better to do with your time.
Well, my
Exactly.
father-in-law, my brother-in-law
Check
were
the
like,
scores, but
they were like, they're gonna lose. I'm like, no, they're winning. They're winning by a point. They're like, no, they're gonna lose.
I don't even. I'm not even.
They're going to
shocked.
lose.
Yeah,
They're going to lose.
don't get shocked.
All right. Well, I got to make a phone call.
All right, big one.
Big one to our sponsors. I'm talking to old Mario here in a couple minutes. Should be a good conversation. So we're going to get Mario on here at one point.
Yeah,
Because
for sure. He should.
I love his opinion on a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So
Just people that have their own opinions, right?
yeah,
and
it's
that are
fun.
willing to share
It's
them.
fun. Yes,
All
it's fun.
Well, thank you for tuning in to episode 6 of the CatchMark podcast, and we'll see you guys next time.